Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into a case that was, well, incredibly frustrating for years here in North Carolina. The 2012 murder of Faith Hedgepeth, a 19-year-old UNC student.
Yeah, it's a tough one. 9 years of investigation, just drowning in these really specific, sometimes contradictory clues, even though they actually had the killer's DNA profile pretty early on.
Exactly. So our mission today is to really explore that. We'll walk you through the timeline of that night, which gets pretty confusing.
And we'll look at why the initial police work faced so much scrutiny, legally and from the public. It's quite a story there.
And then finally, how science, really persistence with the science, eventually broke the case open after all that confusion.
But first, let's just take a moment to remember who Faith was,
Hmm.
because this wasn't just a case file.
Absolutely. She was, an honor student, a cheerleader, very involved with her Hallie-Wessaponi Native American tribe.
And she'd won the Gates Millennium Scholarship, which is a huge deal. She was on track to be the first in her immediate family to graduate college.
Just so much promise there. And it all ended tragically in September 2012 in her off-campus apartment in Chapel Hill.
An apartment she shared with her roommate, Karina Rosario. And that apartment, their social circle. It all became ground zero for the investigation right away.
Okay, so let's reconstruct that night. Thursday, September 6, 2012. It starts out pretty normal, right?
Yeah, typical student stuff. Sorority rush earlier than studying. Faith was working on a paper about her tribe's history, actually, at the UNC library with Rosario.
Then around midnight, they head back to the apartment briefly, but they don't stay long.
No, they decided to go out. Headed downtown to a nightclub called The Thrill. We know this from surveillance video.
Right, the video shows them leaving the Thrill together at 2:06 in the morning.
And they're back at the apartment by 3 a.m. And this is where things get dark, fast.
Because almost immediately after they get back, shortly after 3 a.m., a neighbor downstairs hears something.
Yeah, this neighbor was up watching TV, heard 3 loud thumps, described it like a heavy bag being dropped, or maybe furniture getting knocked over, loud enough to notice.
Which really suggests, a struggle. An attack might have started right then.
But then it gets weird. 40 minutes later, there's this text message.
Oh, yeah, the text. At 3:40 a.m., it's sent from Faith's phone.
And it goes to Rosario's ex-boyfriend, Brandon Edwards. It says, hey, can you come over here, please? Rosario needs you more, Please let her know you care.
And then a correction text, just the word then to fix the grammar, needs you more than aha.
Okay, hold on. If there was a violent struggle around 3 a.m., who is sending this text at 3:40?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the content. It's all about the roommates' relationship drama, it feels like. Misdirection.
Totally. It points away from Faith. It makes you think, did the killer pause to send this?
Right.
Trying to frame it as like a jealousy thing involving Rosario. Or was Rosario herself involved somehow in creating this narrative?
It immediately puts this cloud of suspicion, or at least confusion, around the roommate and her ex.
And then, after that text goes out, Rosario leaves the apartment.
Right. She said she left around 4:02 on Point Faith. Her story was that Faith was asleep. And crucially, she left the front door unlocked.
She left with some acquaintance, drove off,
Yeah.
The door's unlocked. Faith is supposedly asleep inside.
Hours go by. It's not until around 11 a.m. that Rosario comes back, this time with another friend, Marisol Rangel.
And that's when they find her, Faith's body, in her bedroom. Police reports say bloodied, wrapped in a quilt, partially nude. They call 911.
The forensics later confirmed she died from blunt force trauma to the head, probably from an empty rum bottle found right there in the apartment.
And critically, police find male DNA at the scene. Semen, too. This is huge.
Yeah, because they immediately had someone in mind, didn't they? Someone with a known motive.
Oh, absolutely. Eric Ticoy Jones, Rosario's ex-boyfriend, the one the text message was seemingly about.
He had a history, right? Domestic violence issues with Rosario, there was a restraining order.
And he had apparently threatened Faith directly. Police sources said he told people he'd kill Faith if he couldn't get back together with Rosario.
Plus, those social media posts, just hours before the murder, things like, "Forgive me for what I'm about to do." I mean,
It's about as close to a smoking gun as you get without actually seeing it happen.
Yeah.
He looked like the guy.
the science, that DNA they found?
This is the twist. Jones's DNA did not match the male DNA sample from the crime scene. Not a match.
So all that motive, the threats, the tweets, none of it mattered for the physical evidence.
Nope, he was excluded. Very early on, actually, which must have just thrown the investigation into chaos. Their prime suspect, the obvious narrative. gone.
And then things seemed to get worse, procedurally speaking. The police response itself came under fire.
Yeah, the Chapel Hill police did something pretty unusual. They immediately sealed all the case records. Everything.
Which led to this long battle with the media, right? They called it the shadow of the ceilings.
Exactly. Local news outlets had to sue, basically,
Yeah.
arguing the public needed to know if this case had just stalled, if it had gone cold because of mistakes.
And there were alleged mistakes. Big ones, according to neighbors and reporters covering it closely.
Oh, yeah. People on the ground pointed out things like, police didn't seem to search neighboring apartments right away. They didn't really canvass the complex thoroughly.
Faith's car was apparently left unsecured for a while. Basic crime scene stuff seemingly missed.
But the biggest one, the one that really hurts when you look back, is about video evidence, or the lack of it.
The nightclub footage.
From the Thrills parking lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Police apparently didn't ask the local towing company who handled the security cameras there for the footage until, wait for it, 19 months later.
19 months.
Seriously. By then, of course, it was long gone, recorded over. Any chance of seeing who Faith and Rosario left with or if someone was following them just vanished.
Wow. That's a massive lost lead. It basically forces them back onto witness statements and the weird stuff found inside the apartment.
Which finally came out when the records were unsealed in July 2014. We got the 911 call transcript, the autopsy details confirming the struggle, the blood under her nails.
Okay, so that brings us to those really perplexing pieces of evidence, the things that kept people guessing for years. Let's unpack those. There were three main ones, right?
Yep. 3 big head scratchers. You want to start with a 911 call?
Yeah, let's do that. It was nearly 8 minutes long, and reporters who listened, like Tom Gasparoli, called it unusual.
That's putting it mildly. The caller, who police believe was Rosario, never actually says Faith's name. Not once. It's always her friends, she, her.
And there's this reluctance. The dispatcher keeps asking her to check if Faith is breathing, check for a pulse, basic first aid instructions.
But the caller sounds hesitant, almost unwilling to touch the body or even get too close. It's just an odd reaction captured on tape.
So even though Rosario wasn't officially a suspect and police said she cooperated, that call, plus her leaving the door unlocked, the weird text, it kept suspicion swirling around her.
For years, yeah. It's a shadow that hung over the case. Okay, second piece. The note.
Ah, the note. Found at the scene. I'm not stupid bitch jealous. All caps.
Scrawled sloppily on a piece, torn from a white paper bag. Maybe from that timeout restaurant nearby, they thought.
And the forensics on the note itself were weird, too. A handwriting expert, Peggy Walla, pointed out something interesting.
Yeah, she noted the paper itself, the writing, was clean. No blood spatter, even though the room was a bloody scene.
Which suggests what? The killer wrote it before the violence. Or after, carefully avoiding contamination. Maybe trying to disguise their handwriting.
All possibilities. Gasparoli, the reporter, even theorized maybe the words were meant to be read differently, like, I'm not jealous, stupid bitch. Or maybe the whole thing was just a red herring.
And didn't someone point out the word stupid looked neater, more precise than the rest?
Yeah, which led to speculation. Could it have been written by a woman trying to make it look like a man wrote it in anger? Just endless theories spun out from those few words.
Okay, so call note. What's the third baffling piece?
The pocket dial. Or what sounds like one. An accidental recording from Faith's phone.
Right. It was about 3 minutes long, time-stamped 1:23 a.m. And it sounded like a three-way conversation. Faith, a male voice, and another female voice, plus music.
Initially, police kind of dismissed it. They figured 1:23 a.m., music. Must have been recorded earlier at the Thrill. Probably irrelevant noise.
But then an audio expert got involved, Arlo West, and he had a very different take.
A very different take.
Yeah.
West enhanced the audio, cleaned it up, and he claimed he heard chilling things.
Like what?
He said he could hear Faith crying for help. He heard a female voice say, I think she's dying. And a male voice respond, do it anyhow.
Whoa, okay, if that's true.
Changes everything. West also claimed the female voice used the nickname Rosie, which is often short for Rosario.
But what about the police's point? The timestamp, the music, 1:23 a.m. puts it before they even left the club.
West pushed back hard on that. He argued that specific type of phone Faith had was known for software glitches that could create inaccurate timestamps on recordings.
Okay. Plausible, I guess. What about the music?
He disputed that too. Said the background sounds weren't club music. He argued there was no heavy bass, no percussion, none of the usual clinking glasses or crowd noise you'd expect from the Thrill. He thought it sounded more like it was recorded in the apartment. Maybe during the actual attack.
So for almost a decade, this is where the case sat. You've got male DNA, but it doesn't match the prime suspect. You've got suspicious 911 call, a bizarre note, and this maybe murder recording pocket dial. Just a total mess of conflicting clues.
A complete stalemate, really, until they went back to that DNA profile with new technology.
This was in 2016, right? 4 years after the murder. They brought in Parabon Nanolabs.
Yep. To do something called DNA phenotyping, basically using the genetic markers from the crime scene DNA to build a picture of what the suspect might look like.
So for you listening, they weren't matching it to a name yet. They were using the DNA itself to generate like a forensic sketch based purely on genetics.
Exactly. And the prediction Parabon came up with was really specific. They said the DNA suggested someone of very strongly Native American and European mixed ancestry, or Latino,
Okay.
with specific markers pointing towards Mexican, Colombian, maybe Iberian Peninsula ancestry. They predicted black hair, olive skin, with like 80% confidence.
That definitely narrows things down from unknown male, but it still wasn't a name. It took another 5 years after that prediction, right?
5 more years. And then, finally, the break. September 16th, 2021. 9 years almost to the day after Faith was killed.
They make an arrest.
They arrest Miguel Salguero Olivares. He was 28 at the time, living in nearby Durham. And here's the kicker. He was not an initial suspect. He wasn't on anyone's radar back in 2012.
So how did they connect him after all that time?
It was almost routine police work, combined with luck maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He'd been arrested the month before, in August 2021, for drunk driving, a DUI.
Okay.
As part of that DUI arrest process, they took his DNA sample, standard procedure. That sample went into the state database, CODIS.
And it pinged.
Bingo. It matched the unknown male profile from Faith Hedgepeth's apartment 9 years earlier. A perfect match.
Wow. Just like that. A DUI arrest solves a 9-year-old murder mystery.
Pretty much. Court documents that came out later confirmed it. The DNA from the scene matched Salguero Olivares. And not just DNA.
What else?
A palm print found on the murder weapon, that empty rum bottle. It matched Salguero Olivares too.
So DNA and a print on the weapon, that's definitive.
Absolutely. And that solid scientific link allowed prosecutors to strengthen the case. Just recently, in November 2024, they added charges. First-degree burglary, first-degree rape, first-degree sexual offense.
Which confirms what police suspected all along, right? This probably wasn't just some random stranger attack.
Exactly. They'd always said they thought the killer was likely someone in Faith's social circle, or at least someone familiar with the apartment complex, not just a crime of opportunity. The arrest seems to bear that out. Salguero Olivares apparently lived near the complex at the time.
So it's just this incredible journey. From years of sealed records, intense speculation about roommates and ex-boyfriends, all that confusing evidence like the note in the voicemail.
To a final, clear-cut answer delivered by science. The DNA they had from day one was always the key. They just needed the technology and, well, the comparison sample to finally unlock it.
It really validates sticking with the forensic evidence, even when the circumstantial stuff sends you down rabbit holes.
Absolutely.
So here's something for you to think about. We now know, because of DNA and the palm print, who the police believe committed this crime, Miguel Salguero Olivares. How does knowing that fundamentally change how we look back at all that confusing circumstantial evidence?
Good question.
Like that note, "I'm not stupid, bitch, jealous." Does it now just seem like the panicked, maybe nonsensical writing of the actual killer trying to throw police off? Or does it still hold some mystery? Was it planted by someone else?
And what about that pocket dial recording? If Salguero Olivares acted alone, as the charges might imply, does that alleged recording of multiple voices during the crime make any sense anymore?
Or was all that early evidence, the note, the call, the recording, the focus on the ex-boyfriend, just a massive cloud of confusion, maybe even intentional misdirection, that investigators were never really meant to solve through interpretation alone? Was it always a puzzle where only hard science, like DNA, could provide the final, definitive piece? Makes you really consider the power of forensic science to cut through the noise.